Anyway, thank you, Umanath and Vijay, where you are, for inviting me and BARC to speak out here. It's a real pleasure to see old friends in Bangalore and chat with them. I mean, it's a fantastic thing. So this is what I'll do. I'll try and paint a picture of what's happening in the consumer ecosystem primarily. So, the slide shifting, sorry. Yeah. So the consumer of today is what we are trying to talk about, right? So if you really see what is happening today, I mean, India is going through a video explosion. Now, when I'm saying video, I don't want to demarcate TV, OTT and all that kind of stuff. We will use those terms as well, but I'm just saying it's video. Ultimately, we all watch video. So roughly about 800 plus channels which are active. Licensed will be but much more. Some 5 to 7 SVOD OTTs, which is what Srini was referring to, which doesn't take advertising. A huge number of AVODs, which is all over the place. And a lot of social media apps. That's the kind of video ecosystem that we are talking about. In terms of the kind of time we are spending on these kind of things, these are rough estimates of the kind of time, about 190 odd minutes of video that we watch. India was watching about 15 to 16 channels a day, which has come down to now about 12, 13 after NTO and all of that, but roughly there, 10 to 15 channels per day per home, about 2 to 3 apps. So that's what on an average a consumer watches today. In terms of the explosion again, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, short form, user-generated content, to drama, to sports, and we all know it. I mean, I think a huge amount of our sleep time has started going down with all this content that is happening with us all over the place. The number of apps, you guys would all be knowing about this, the kind of numbers that we are talking about. In about 2012, which is not too far, there were some 9 platforms. As we speak today, in 2019, there are about 30 plus platforms. All the others, I mean, TikTok is a big thing that has started happening, and I'm sure we would be able to see many such things which is going around on WhatsApp and stuff like that. And the other apps which are all coming, and there are so many of them which are coming around. But at the end of the day, 93% of all video content, even today, the consumption happens on a standard TV. So that's something that is very clear. And what are they watching? Obviously, we are talking about linear television now, purely good old linear television. In 2015, if the number was about 640 billion man-minutes a week, 640 billion man-minutes a week, in 2019, it has become 940. So in these 4 years, roughly a 47% jump. That's the kind of thing that Indian television ecosystem is going through. If you take the kind of time that people were spending on television, it was 3 hour 15 minutes at that point of time. It is a 3 hour 46 minutes now. We're taking photographs again. So quite a huge jump. Obviously content, the number of fragmentation, all that is there, but people are watching more. I think it's also about there is power. A lot of more power has come into the system out here. People can watch television. A lot of good content is coming in, and hence people are watching more. Okay. So what is India watching? Obviously, India loves a lot of entertainment. Going by Vidya Balan's line, entertainment. But if you really see, there are quite a few small tricks. I'm sure people like our friends sitting here, they all know these tricks. That if in terms of GCs, what really works are things like Maha episodes. They're all drama, basically nothing else, okay? So Maha episodes gives you this kind of a number. I mean, we have kind of empirically calculated this back. Jail tracks in any of these shows would give you a lift. A wedding gives you a lift. And similarly, kidnapping gives you a good lift, right? So same thing happens in a way in news, which is also about drama, whether it is the death of a very loved superstar, or a demonetization, or somebody going to jail again, or Gurmeet Ram Rahim, which that whole thing happened, if you remember, in Haryana. So all of this give a tremendous boost in numbers. The same thing happens also in sports. This is the last World Cup England-New Zealand match. So it went on going up, up and up, so to about 62% of total television was being watched on the World Cup match. And then the moment the Super Overs started, it just slumped down. So all this is about drama, and you can see genre by genre, this is the drama that works. Roughly about 171 million viewers. Same thing, this was, I think, the Women's World Cup finals. The way, as the run chase happened, the television viewership started going up. And it's a complete mirror that you can make out that what holds people's interest and what doesn't. And the moment this lady, Veda Krishnamurthi's wicket went, it went down. So that's how typically it happened. A couple of more such anecdotes. I think 52% of television is about GCs, right? So this is the broad pie that is there around the country. Roughly 52% is soaps and GCs. And yeah, so some big numbers. This is a Hindi GEC. How many people would be watching in a day? Any guesses? India is a big country. 300 million number is like few countries in Europe, you know. It's a very, very large number. When we speak these things in Europe, these guys can't believe that so many people can watch one thing, you know, that kind of a thing. So 300 million. Now, if you want to look at it for the 4 regional markets out here, what would the numbers be? Again, pretty big in my view, quite a big number. Yeah. So be it Telugu, be it Kannada, be it Malayalam, be it Tamil, huge numbers. Bahubali, I'm sure most of you know about here. The Hindi version was watched by 43 million viewers on the first airing. Huge numbers, absolutely huge numbers. This is interesting. The FIFA World Cup, which was an international event, look at the number of people who watched. It was just about 187 million people. The IPL 2018 final, which is a one country kind of a sport, this thing, was watched by about 160 million viewers. So that's the kind of comparison. In India, we love watching television. There's no second guesses about that. This is about 21 countries, this is about 1 country, right? And of course, the IPL, last IPL, which is the 2019 one, this is the kind of numbers of people who watch the sport. 462 million, if you can't see it from here, there, that side. It's about 462 million, which is between both TV and OH. We also measure the OH viewing. When you view a cricket match in any of the pubs or the restaurants, we have a method to measure that. News. Do you know how many people watched live this Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi's hug and wink? Huh? Any guesses? 14 million people live at that point of time. Yeah. Commander Abhinandan's return, again a huge number. 146 million viewers actually watched him return. In fact, because it was getting prolonged, you know, we were waiting for him to come back. That day was the second highest viewership of news till date, which is about 400 million viewers watched it. The next bigger number is the general election day, which is the large Lok Sabha elections. Just a kind of an anecdotal thing. UEFA Cup, which is also a late night thing that was telecast, versus say Chandrayaan, because both were very late night. If you remember, we were all up late to watch this. This was about 6.6 million viewers, whereas Chandrayaan was 11 million viewers at that late in the night. Yeah. So how's the landscape going as we go further? I think one of the first things that we are seeing is, unlike the West or unlike any of the developed countries, our households are not buying the second, third TV. India is skipping the second, third TV generation completely. India will have typically one family viewing one TV, and all the individual consumptions will move on to their handsets or the devices. So that is a very, very clear thing that we are seeing. There is so much of devices getting sold, but second TVs are not getting high. India is still about what, 98% of India is still a single TV household. So programming on TV to that extent has to remain a family viewing programming. The new thing that has happened in television called new tariff order has introduced very, very new learnings, and this, I'm using this forum to talk about it because we get this question very regularly. See, a lot of things have changed from what used to be earlier, okay, because the way it is structured. This is the economy of choice. You can choose what you want to see, and hence it is not about you have access to everything you are choosing. Earlier also you could choose, but earlier you had access. Now you will not have access to a certain thing that you have not subscribed. So the interesting thing out here, if you can read what is put out here, 59% of the population used to sample up to 30 channels as compared to 76% now. So the numbers of channels that you are sampling is changing. Similarly, 97% of the population samples up to 50 channels in a week as compared to 91% earlier. So the number of people sampling a certain, so that's why this curve is slightly skewed, you can see that. So after a point, people are not taking. Which is what is giving rise to something like this. Earlier, and Praddy will be nodding on this, is earlier our standard thing was when reach goes up, typically ATS comes down, right? Now, if both reach and time spent can go up for a particular channel, purely because people have chosen one or two channels in that genre to see, and hence he will see, when he sees, he will say, see it more. So this is what is happening very, very clearly right now, which never used to happen earlier. So the other one, which I'm sure all of here would be knowing per se, I think these are the numbers, these are the regionals which has really, really gone through the roof. This, the kind of growth that we have seen in Bhojpuri, for example, Gujarati, Marathi, Odia, Ashomiya, which is the Assam language, it's tremendous. And you can clearly see these numbers going through the roof. And a reflection of this is the number of channels being launched, right? Whether it be on the entertainment side, whether it be on the sports side. Sports, I think Star is going on launching a lot of these Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, the Star Sports kind of versions, and it is giving them dividends. So a lot of new launches we are seeing in this whole the regional space. Regional content is still the strongest in the south, but if you look at, which is roughly about 90% of viewing in south in all the 4 states per se, but Marathi and Bengali also is becoming a very strong base for regional content being actually consumed. These are the broad ones that is there in the local market, what kind of numbers are happening. In fact, if you see the total amount of impressions in each of the top 3 markets out there, which is AP, Telangana, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, apart from Kerala, the amount of viewership numbers that they throw up is bigger than all the OTTs nationally put together. All the OTTs nationally put together on the right. So that's the kind of number that the regional markets, especially in south of India, throw up. Of course, it is not limited to entertainment. There's a lot of cricket. This is the IPL kind of wheel that we are trying to show out here. And you can see this happening, right? Be it Flipkart, be it Google, be it Amazon, everybody has started launching their versions in language. And that's the only way they penetrate more and more people. Just to give you a flavor of what's happening in the world, we talked about regional, now let's open our eyes to the world. This is the kind of figure, the figures in red are markets where the viewing is going down, TV viewing is going down, and the figure in the italics are the last year's figure versus the blue ones which are this year's figure. This is 3 hours 45 minutes in Europe, for example, is what people watch television now. Though it is coming down from 349 to 345 year on year. In places like Africa, places like India, places like Asia, it is all growing. India is at about 2 hours 55 minutes right now. India is, so the world average is 2 hours 55 minutes. India is at about 2 hours 44 minutes. So there's a lot that India can grow. Look at the number at the US or the North America. It's right now 354, it used to be till last year at about 4 minutes. So India has a lot to grow even now in my view, than look at that it's going down. If you look at the youth, which we would typically think that youth is not watching television, the numbers don't say so. If you see the numbers out here, India's youth, the average number, global average is about 1 hour 56 minutes. India watches about 1 hour 58 kind of minutes. This is the numbers, North America, Europe, Asia. You can see the kind of numbers that people watch from a youth segment kind of way. If you look at, and this is where I think we get a lot of more hope for the TV ecosystem, is India's penetration of TV in homes. India has about roughly 300 million homes. Only about 200 million homes have TV at this point of time, which is roughly 2/3, which is 66%, that you can see the figure there, that 66%. Look at every other country. They're all at about 90, 95, 96, 97. So if India will grow in the next few years, this number of 66 will grow further, so 250, 260, whatever. And that's where you see a lot of hope in the Indian TV ecosystem still being there. And TV will continue to grow, digital will continue to grow, all of these will grow together. What does it mean for the marketer? Obviously, huge amount of fragmentation, and you have to figure out where to put your money in. That's, I think, getting more and more clear. But what is more important is, I think, very soon we will realize, and before I think in the next couple of years, it won't take that time, that pipes and screens don't matter. It is the content that matter. How you're watching, which kind of a device, which kind of a connection you have, doesn't matter. So it will completely be Coffee with Karan season 10, episode 8, what I am watching. Where I am watching is not really relevant. So that's the kind of ecosystem that we are going to, because that's where it is going. So this whole thing will move into a very different direction in my view. And as affluence grows, as electrification goes, I'm again talking very India specific, as speed of internet, today we have very large numbers of internet connectivities, but speed is not so good. As speed of internet grows, you will see the whole content game getting only a bit more busier. So people people who make content in this video ecosystem, I think they have tremendous times coming ahead for them. Of course, as a measurement company, we have to keep pace with all of that, and that is something that we have been talking about. We don't know whether this 940 billion, it will become what in the near future, because this is the number, and with all the screens together is what we should look at as we go forward. So that's the kind of market that we are heading to, and one who challenges will reap benefits, of course, and there's a lot to happen. Thank you.